Unity Dots is designed to make complicated games with millions of entities, and I immediately thought about Flappy Bird, because there's a bird and some pipes and... You know what? I don't need a specific reason to make a game with Unity Dots. I just like the concept of entities, components and systems. It feels easier for me to add new features and refactor existing code with ECS. That's why I decided to recreate Flappy Bird in 3D using Unity Dots. I have highlighted 9 key systems that need to be implemented to make this game fully functional. First, we need our star of the show, the bird. I don't like the original bird, it looks like a frog with the wings. So I opened Blender and sculpted this majestic creature. Look at those curves. Look at the beak. The eyes is so attractive. It's like Michelangelo's David, but flappier. Next up, I modeled the pipe, that cold-blooded and ruthless bird killer. With the models ready, it was time to get Unity Dots set up. Starting with a new Universal 3D project, the first step is installing the entities and entities graphics packages. Oh, and don't forget to change the Enter Play Mode settings to Do Not Reload the main or scene. Trust me, you don't want to wait minutes every time you hit play. After that, I created a new subscene for entity conversion. Once the setup was complete, I imported my models into Unity. But wait, why does my bird look like it's been dunked in neon paint? Turns out Blender and Unity have a slight disagreement about color space, because I forgot to save the texture image after rotating it. A quick fix in Blender and we are back to normal. Crisis averted. With the models looking right, I created prefabs for bird and the pipe objects. I prefer to keep the visual model in a separate child object. It's an easy way to change the size of the model without affecting the size of the entity. Now it's time to add some physics to our feathered friend. Installing the physics package and physics samples was the first step, as these are required for using physics shape and physics body components. I created custom physics categories to use them for collision detection. Colliders were set up for the bird and pipe, and I configured the physics mass settings for the bird. Using the pipe prefab, I created a pipe pair prefab. To make the bird act like in 2D, I added limit DOF joint and locked the necessary axes. The next challenge was creating a pipe spawner component and system where the pipe entity must be instantiated and moved to the desired position immediately. But the pipes kept appearing in the middle of the screen for one frame. I fixed it by using begin simulation entity command buffer. However, this only fixed the visual part of the glitch. The colliders of the bird and pipe still collided on spawn, so I just moved the initial position of pipe prefab far away. Problem solved. Kind of. If you have a better solution, let me know in the comments. With the pipe spawning correctly, the next step was making them move toward the bird. A pipe moving system was created to simulate the bird flying forward, and pipe remove system was added to destroy pipe entities behind their desired position. To make the game look fancy, I added a floor. Then I set the camera to orthographic view. Finally, I downloaded this skybox to complete the look. Whoa! Now we needed an input system to actually control the bird. After importing the input system package, I created input actions for mouse click, spacebar key press and touch tap. The player jump system takes the need jump tag component from input system and moves the bird up. At first, it didn't look like Flappy Bird. It looked more like bird was on the moon or in a carousel. So I tweaked the gravity properties on the bird, the pipe moving speed and the pipe spawn interval. Now it looks playable. Next, I wanted to add sounds for flapping, hitting pipes and getting points. Using a free sound effect package, I chose sounds for the listed actions. Then I created a scriptable object for collecting sound clips and a sound manager script singleton to play these sounds from the systems. Of course, there is also a sound system that waits for the specific component to be enabled before playing the sound. To track progress, I created a points system that increases the points value each time the bird crosses the pipe. Or is it the other way around? Anyway, I added a points UI so I can see how far we have come. To synchronize the points from the component and the UI, I added this sync with UI system. When the bird hits the pipe, it's game over. So I added a game over UI with a reload sim button. The detect collision system checks for collisions, and if one of entities is the bird, it's game over. But don't forget to set the bird's collision response to collide and raise collision event. To manage game states, I created a game state component and set it to a single entity. This allows me to stop pipes from spawning and moving if the game state is not play. Before starting the game, I added a prepare state and prepare UI, where you need to click first to actually begin. To make the bird's movement more authentic, I added rotation on jump, just like in the original Flappy Bird. Then, to make game over process more fun, I added a bouncy property to the bird's physics body, removed the horizontal movement restriction, and added a horizontal movement impulse on collision to simulate smashing into the pipe at speed. Finally, to make this game extra fancy, I added a cloud particle effect. I opened my favorite painting tool, Krita, and draw a cloud, then saved it as a PNG with a transparent background. After importing the image as a sprite and creating a material with transparency properties, I used this material for particle effect. Initially, I added the particle effect to the bird and played it each time I jumped. Not actually what I wanted. I switched to another approach, spawning an entity with the particle system and moving it backward like a pipe. This is way better. By the way, do you know since which version of entity it became possible to add particle system to entities? Let me know in the comments below. And here it is, Flappy Bird in 3D, brought to you by Unity Dots and a dose of nerve cells. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.